Hi everyone, Lamisha here from LamishaSerf-Walls.com, bringing you another Mindset Monday tip of the day. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about momentum and how to manage your emotions as you find yourself on a wide spectrum of beliefs and emotions as you're going through your everyday life. So as you know, there are two pieces of this puzzle that we deal with that I talk a lot about in terms of mindset. The first piece is planting those new beliefs with your daily practice. Hopefully you have one of those, and really being consistent about what you're planting into your mindset that's going to support you moving forward. The other half of this puzzle is really about doing the work, managing your emotions, and really transforming those thoughts in your everyday life. So when you're feeling triggered by certain circumstances, it's really looking at that trigger and choosing to look at it differently, feel differently about it, shift your focus, that kind of thing. So 9 times out of 10 when I'm working with a client, they have their mindset practice, we work on that immediately, and then the bulk of our work is really untangling those moments where they feel triggered. So how do you know when to start untangling and really putting your focus on that trigger versus when you have to shift your focus entirely? And the answer is it depends on how much momentum you have going towards that negative situation. So say for instance, you had a circumstance that happened last week and it happened, or you had a circumstance happen this morning. The situation happened this morning, it triggered you, it triggered a negative emotion. You're feeling potentially frustrated, doubtful, your mind starts running away with you, you're wondering if this stuff works, you're wondering if you're good enough, you wonder if things will ever change. And so each time you have one of those thoughts, right, it adds on to another and another and another. And before you know it, you're finding yourself spiraling down this rabbit hole. Now, most people don't realize that they've actually fallen into the rabbit hole until it's too late, until they get down and they feel so negative and so heavy and so terrible that it's in that moment they realize, oh, okay, I've already fallen into the rabbit hole. What do I do now? Depending on how far down you are, sometimes the best thing you can do is shift your focus and do something else completely, right? So if the momentum of those emotions and of those negative emotions has kind of run away with you, if it's going pretty quickly, it's going to be hard to stop that. So the best thing you could do is shift your focus to something entirely different. So say for instance, what you're worried about is money, you want to focus on something completely different that's not about money. That is not the time for you to start trying to transform your thoughts around money because it's just not going to work as well, okay? So maybe you shift your focus to your kids, or you listen to some music, or you do something else that kind of turns your focus away, that just gives you this opportunity to feel better, even though it's not about that specific thing, okay? Now, let's say, for instance, instead of allowing yourself to kind of fall into that rabbit hole and go down there for, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, you feel yourself tilting in and you are very aware of the fact that you were just triggered, you're having this reaction to that trigger, and you catch yourself early enough. The momentum hasn't built up, there haven't been too many negative thoughts. In that moment, if there's not a lot of momentum flowing in that negative direction, then you have an opportunity and you can transition yourself to something more positive. Those are the moments when you want to meditate or listen to your mantras or write, do some journaling. Those are the moments when you can really actively shift your focus and transform those beliefs that would typically take you down the rabbit hole. But a lot of times what we don't understand is when our emotions are so involved and so engaged in this doubtful, frustrated, depressed, upset, angry space, it's really, really difficult to get back to the other side because it's too big of a leap, right? So the best way to kind of understand this and understand which way is going to work for you is to check in with how you're feeling. If you're feeling really low, if you're feeling really triggered, if your emotions are really high, that's the time to completely shift your focus. I want you to turn to something different, listen to some music, read a book, watch a movie, do something that's entirely different than whatever that initial trigger was. But if you are in that moment and you recognize pretty quickly, right? If you become aware of that pretty quickly, then you understand, okay, I see how I would react. This situation would typically toss me into the rabbit hole and make me feel very uncomfortable and depressed. but today I'm choosing something different. Today I'm going to tell a new story about the situation. I'm going to choose to respond to it instead of react, okay? And that's really going to determine the difference between if you can intervene in that thought or if you have to let it go and then kind of try again the next day with your daily practice. So I hope that this makes sense for you. I've been getting a lot of questions from clients saying, when I'm feeling really, really low, I try to implement these tools that you're giving me. And I say, that's great. I'm so glad you have those tools. But when you're feeling really, really low, it's hard to get back to that high flying, high vibe place if you're already in that space. So a lot of times the best thing you can do is shift your focus if the momentum has already kind of run away with you. Okay. So I hope that this is helpful for you. I know it can be a little bit confusing because there's not a scientific scale of how far you can go or at what point you have to be at before you can turn around. But if you practice with this a little bit more and become aware, I promise it will make a huge difference in how you do this work, when you're triggered and your mindset just as a whole moving forward. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your questions. If you have any about this topic, feel free to post them below. And if you know of someone that would, benefit from this video, feel free to tag them or share this post with them, okay? Hope you guys are having a great Monday and you have a great rest of the week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.